What would happen if, just for 24 hours, Earth lost its atmosphere? Imagine stepping outside only to find that the very air you depend on is gone. Before we open this vault of secrets, take a few seconds to like this video. Tell me if you truly believe in what I am about to reveal, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button. If you are ready to breathe in the unknown, now, let us begin. The first thing you notice is silence. Not the quiet of a calm night, but the suffocating silence of emptiness. Your lungs burn after just seconds. The sky above no longer blue but a black void filled with raw stars. It is as if the universe itself has crashed into your backyard, and you are no longer just a bystander. You are a witness to Earth stripped bare. Within moments, humanity would realize the truth. Without an atmosphere, there is no air to breathe. Hospitals, bunkers, and submarines become instant sanctuaries. Everyone else, they would last no longer than a few minutes. Think of it, the billions who never got the chance to say goodbye, clutching their throats. Eyes widening in panic, the breath of life stolen, not by war, not by plague, but by absence itself. In ancient Sumerian texts, there is mention of the day the sky forgot to breathe. Scholars often dismiss it as poetry, but tonight it feels less like myth and more like prophecy. And the terrifying part is not death itself. It is the awareness that every second counts, and there is no place to run. Without the atmosphere, the familiar blue sky vanishes. In its place, raw, unfiltered cosmos. Stars blaze even at noon, and the Milky Way arcs overhead like a scar across reality. The horizon bends in strange ways, no longer softened by air. Children once drew skies with crayons. Now it is an infinite black canvas filled with fire. Imagine standing where oceans used to glitter, only to see the sky look back at you with eyes of infinity. It is awe, yes, but also terror. For centuries, humans gazed up and wondered what lay beyond. Now there is no beyond. The beyond is here, pressing against your skin, pressing into your lungs. You finally understand how fragile the thin veil of atmosphere was, your only shield against the universe's raw hunger. Without our atmospheric shield, sunlight is no longer gentle warmth. It is raw, merciless radiation. Ultraviolet rays stab at your skin, and gamma bursts seep into every cell. Within minutes, unprotected flesh begins to blister. The sun, once worshipped as a god of life, now reveals its darker nature, a raging inferno hanging above, indifferent to the creatures crawling below. Historians recall how ancient Egyptians prayed to Ra, the sun god, for protection. But imagine if Ra answered not with light but with fury. Every rooftop becomes an oven, every metal surface too hot to touch. And while some hide underground or inside sealed rooms, others feel the paradoxical terror of beauty. The blinding auroras and strange lights dancing across the naked sky, produced by radiation never meant for human eyes. You start to wonder, is this how Mars feels, barren, exposed, vulnerable? Without the veil of atmosphere, Earth itself becomes an alien world. When night falls, the absence of atmosphere brings a different horror. Heat no longer lingers. In deserts, where temperatures usually plummet, now the drop is catastrophic, hundreds of degrees within hours. Your breath crystallizes instantly, frost coating every surface. It is not the cold you know from winter mornings. It is the cold of space itself, a silence that freezes bone. Imagine cities like New York or Los Angeles reduced to icy tombs. Cars stall, power grids collapse, and generators hum until their fuel dies. Strangely enough, historians might whisper about the ice ages, when mammoths roamed and glaciers carved the land. But even those frozen centuries were merciful compared to this single night of exposure. The question is, would you huddle with your loved ones hoping warmth could be shared? Or would you wander into the frost, knowing there is no dawn guaranteed? No air means no wind. The world falls into a motionless silence. Flags hang limp, leaves remain still, and oceans lie like mirrors. Sailors of the past once relied on the wind to survive. Now, even they would find no mercy. Imagine standing on a coastline where waves once thundered, only to find the sea frozen in eerie calm, as if holding its breath along with humanity. Without wind, fire cannot burn, songs cannot travel, and laughter dies before it leaves your lips. It is a silence so profound it feels supernatural. Some would say it is peaceful. Others would call it the final hush of a dying planet. And yet, in that silence, you hear something else, your own heartbeat. Loud, insistent, reminding you that even in a world without air, you are still alive, at least for now. Long before telescopes or satellites, ancient cultures spoke of a day when the sky itself would abandon humankind. The Mayans etched warnings on stone. The Egyptians carved hymns to a sky that forgets, and Norse sagas whispered of Ragnarok when the heavens split apart. Were these just metaphors, or faint memories of cataclysms long past? As you stare into the star-filled void above, those prophecies suddenly feel real. A priest in Babylon once wrote that the gods would take back the air to weigh the hearts of men. Historians laugh at the phrase, but tonight it seems less like poetry, more like a record of a forgotten trial. You wonder, were ancient people trying to warn us about an atmospheric disappearance they once survived or barely escaped? Scientists at NASA once simulated what would happen if Earth's atmosphere vanished even for seconds. The results were terrifying: oceans boiling, pressure crushing lungs from the inside, cosmic rays tearing DNA apart. Now, in this imagined night, those simulations come to life. You picture laboratories filled with panicked researchers, flipping through classified reports stamped top secret, equations scribbled on chalkboards, graphs predicting collapse within hours. Somewhere in a forgotten archive, a physicist had written, "The air we breathe is thinner than the hope we cling to." You realize now how true it was. This is not science fiction, it is science stripped of mercy. And in this merciless world, humanity discovers that our greatest shield was also our most fragile. Without air pressing down, the oceans begin to rebel. Waves no longer crash, they rise in columns of vapor, boiling away under the unfiltered sun. Fish writhe at the surface, their gills useless in the sudden void. In a matter of hours, shorelines shrink, seas retreat, and what was once a vast blue planet begins to resemble a cracked glass marble. Imagine standing on the coast of California, watching the Pacific vanish into steaming mist. Ancient sailors once feared the edge of the world. Now you watch it dissolve before your eyes. And somewhere in your gut, a dreadful thought takes root. Water was Earth's cradle, and the cradle is breaking. Animals react first, long before humans grasp the scale of disaster. Birds plummet from the sky, wings useless without air to lift them. Whales breach one last time, then collapse as oceans turn to vapor. In the silence, you imagine the cries of creatures vanishing in unison, a chorus of extinction. Yet folklore tells of exceptions. Inuit shamans spoke of spirit animals that could survive in airless worlds. A 19th century traveler claimed to see frogs sealed in stone, alive after centuries without breath. Science scoffs, but in this moment you almost hope legends are true, because if even a single creature endures, maybe the Earth has not fully surrendered. Humans are stubborn. Faced with the unthinkable, we build, improvise, fight. Underground bunkers fill with the wealthy and the prepared, their steel doors sealing away scraps of oxygen. Scuba tanks and makeshift respirators become treasures more valuable than gold. On city streets, people improvise, diving masks, plastic bags, even aquarium pumps pressed to their mouths. The question is, what would you do? Would you barricade yourself in a basement with canned beans and pray the air returns, or would you rush outside? Refusing to suffocate in silence, choosing instead to see the stars one last time. Survival is not just about lungs, it is about will. And as history shows, even in the darkest hours, humanity has a strange way of clawing toward dawn. Rumors spread of documents locked away in Cold War bunkers, files stamped in red ink, atmospheric collapse scenarios. Some claim the Soviets tested vacuum chambers big enough to hold animals, even villages, watching how long survival lasted. Others whisper about NASA's Project Silent Sky, a study so classified that only fragments leaked. Without air, humanity loses not just breath but memory. You picture dust-covered reels of film, scientists in thick glasses watching as mice floated in airless cages. You imagine a faded newspaper headline suppressed before printing. Government knows Earth could lose atmosphere. Whether these archives exist or not, the idea gnaws at you. Maybe the disappearance of air is not just fiction. Maybe it is a possibility governments never dared admit. Even in catastrophe, humor survives. Picture a man in Chicago dialing for pizza delivery as the air outside disappears. Extra pepperoni, he wheezes through a scuba mask. The delivery boy never arrives, of course, but the absurdity lingers. In another corner of the world, someone posts on social media, "No atmosphere. Still better than my ex." It gathers likes until the servers collapse. This is the human spirit, mocking doom with laughter, finding jokes even as lungs struggle. Historians might one day say, when the air vanished. Humanity gasped, but it also giggled. And sometimes, a giggle is enough to keep the heart alive one moment longer. Then, as suddenly as it left, the air returns. A gasp ripples across the planet, a single collective inhale of billions. Fires spark again. Winds stir, waves crash. Survivors stumble into the streets, their faces pale, eyes wide, lungs sucking greedily. But the return is not mercy. Plants are dead, oceans scarred, animals gone. The air smells wrong, burned, metallic like the aftermath of lightning. Some collapse in relief, others in despair. For a moment, Earth breathes again. But the memory of suffocation lingers like a shadow, etched forever into human fear. The next day, the world is not the same. Governments collapse under chaos, economies crumble, and faith in science and religion fractures. Survivors form new tribes, united not by borders but by breath. Oxygen tanks become currency. Seeds and water are worth more than oil. Historians would mark this as the true reset of civilization. The old world, with its skyscrapers and satellites, is gone. In its place stands a fragile humanity, scarred by the memory of silence. You walk through streets littered with collapsed bodies, neon signs still glowing, and you realize Earth has given you a second chance. But it is a cruel gift. In the aftermath, survivors search for meaning. Some call it punishment, others a cosmic accident, but many whisper that the atmosphere's disappearance was a test. In temples and living rooms alike, candles are lit, prayers rise, and questions echo. Why were we spared? Mystics suggest the event was not random, but a reminder that existence itself is borrowed. Without the veil of air, humanity looked directly into the raw face of the cosmos. For some, that glimpse was terrifying. For others, it was holy. And perhaps somewhere between science and myth, the truth waits, veiled again in the returning breath of Earth. So here you are, standing under a sky that once betrayed you. You know what it feels like to suffocate, to see oceans boil, to hear silence deeper than death. And yet you survived. The question remains, if tomorrow you woke to find the atmosphere gone again, what would you do? Would you fight for every second, hoarding oxygen, clinging to life? Or would you step outside, arms wide, and accept the embrace of the universe itself? History may never record your answer, but tonight, in the quiet of your own mind, you must choose. And so, dear listener, our journey ends here. You have breathed with me through silence and storm, through myth and science, and perhaps even through fear. If you have made it this far, thank you. Your time is precious, and the fact that you shared it with me means more than words can hold. Now I turn to you. Tell me in the comments, if Earth truly lost its atmosphere for a single night, how would you face it? Would you hide? Or would you walk beneath the stars? And if you have another what if you would like me to explore, whisper it below. Until then, rest easy. The sky for now still breathes above us.